Heed my words. I am Malenia, Blade of Mikola. And I have never known defeat.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Why Blank is an Amazing Villain. Today
You
we're...
forgot to lock the door, Christian.
What are you doing out of the basement?
It's time I run the show
Don't
today.
need to get any closer. Wait, hold on. Oh!
Hello, my name is HAstrid, and today on Why Blank is an Amazing Villain, we're talking about Malenia, the goddess of rot, Blade of Mikola, the Scarlet Aeonia herself. She's arguably Elden Ring's most challenging boss, and is easily my favorite in the entire Soul series. Before I touch on any rankings though, I'd like to do things a little differently and give some lore on Malenia so you'll understand my rankings a bit better. To make a very, very long story short, an unnamed outer god cursed Malenia with scarlet rot from birth, preventing her from truly reaching godhood in the traditional sense. Within the lands between, there are very few ways to cure a tarnished of scarlet rot, let alone a demigod. So she decays and rots until the day you decide to challenge her. It was inevitable, of course, that the rot would take her, as when she's defeated, she sheds her armor and she blooms, a Scarlet Aeonia, transforming her into her final phase. Instead of fighting the rot, she's forced to embrace it and become reborn as Malenia, goddess of rot. There's quite a bit more to explain and talk about, but that's basically the important parts of her story. At Dunderheads, villains are normally ranked based on connection to hero, backstory, and presence. But because I'm running this shit today, we're not doing that. I'm gonna rank her based on her gameplay, presence, design, connection to hero, and backstory. Although the last two will sort of be ranked as one, Malenia is kind of a special case. So with my long-ass prelude out of the way, let's get started. Malenia is the epitome of learning a fight and then using what you learned to win. While she isn't perfect by any means, she's gonna give anyone a challenge on their first run through. Hell, when you fight her for the first time, she literally launches herself at you and hits you with a move that's completely unique to the rest of the game. I'd be remiss to not mention my clear bias toward her, but I truly do believe anyone who's willing to put in the time into learning the fight can win, as every attack is wildly telegraphed, sometimes giving you an entire 2 to 3 seconds to react to it. A few issues I often find while fighting her is that her waterfowl dance can feel unavoidable because I didn't circle around her in an exact 270 degrees going counterclockwise while there was a full moon outside, as well as a mechanic I've not seen talked about. She'll often ignore a poise break due to her parrying you or being in the middle of an attack animation. I think I understand why it was done, but it genuinely can feel bad when it happens for the 5th time in a row. And so after consideration, even with those downsides, I really do think her fight is a 9.5 out of 10. Even on the worst days, I would go back and fight her and enjoy the entire thing. Unfortunately, if I were just ranking Malenia's presence in the game, she'd end up getting like a 2 out of 10, due to what's basically an absence outside of a few item descriptions, and only being focused on in a very late game area, such as Elphael or Mikola's Halig Tree. However, because I am a generous woman, I will rank her presence indirectly and bring up the fact that there is scarlet rot fucking everywhere in Caelid because of Malenia, and driving Radahn to insanity, essentially. Rot basically having its own religion. As well as being mentioned previously, scarlet rot doesn't have a cure in the lore of Elden Ring, and so it's seen as this holy and godlike substance. I guess they don't know about preserving boluses. Am I right? I'm gonna put 2 scores here. As mentioned before, if we're just looking at Malenia, it's gonna be a 2 out of 10. If you consider everything else, I would honestly rate her a 6.8 out of 10 because of the importance of scarlet rot in general. Okay, so onto my favorite part. I'd like to bring attention to her character design. Her crown, being a symbol of lordship and godliness, has wings to represent her skill, speed, and efficiency at kicking the absolute dog shit out of you. Her hair is likely the most important part to me, as it's strikingly similar to the color of scarlet rot, and flows gracefully with every sword swing. When she enters her second phase, her hair is in full view, becomes the obvious center of attention design-wise. What I find extremely cool is that after entering her second phase, her armor is removed, revealing that her body is scarred and tortured from the years of enduring scarlet rot. Not even to mention, she gets fucking wings. The sheer amount of effort they just put into the way she looks instantly made her my favorite boss. It's just incredible. And while not necessarily a part of her, the prosthetic limbs are the perfect complement to her character to show how far the rot has taken over her body, but you'll then see her sword is attached to it. Every single thing is absolute peak character design to me. I don't think I could even rate it less than a 10 out of 10 on like the worst day of my life. Miyazaki was cooking up something delicious with this one and absolutely fucking killed it. Fuck it. Nah, 20 out of 10. I won't go any lower. I don't care. It's my video. I can do what I want. This one's easily going to be the shortest segment due to my lore dump at the start and the general lack of connection to the hero outside of rot just being a status ailment in the game. I don't know if I would really consider that. I needed to meet somewhere in the middle here, and I'm just gonna say these together are gonna come out to a 4.4 out of 10, as she hardly even knows who the Tarnished is and just fights you out of rage and sorrow. Her lore is astoundingly beautiful, and if you ever have the time to watch a Vati video, please do. But I think that's generally the issue I have with it. The game doesn't necessarily tell you anything about her lore outside of item descriptions and some throwaway words from an NPC nobody knows about. There are other bosses with actual lore that is described to you in an interesting way, like Radagon and even fucking Gideon Ofnir, that makes Malenia's look silly with her and her nothing burger that she calls a background. I'd hate to leave the rankings off on a sour note, but there isn't a lot to look at, and it just doesn't do her justice. 4.4 out of 10 is the best I can give you. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's episode on why Malenia is an amazing villain. She's got more than enough strong suits to keep her place as my favorite boss of all time, but just doesn't quite make the mark to be my favorite villain of all time. It's been an honor being the host of the final episode of Why Blank is an Amazing Villain's second season. Thank you to all the Dunderheads for allowing me to be part of this amazing community, and don't forget to subscribe here at Dunderheads, as well as my nearly dormant channel. My name is HAstrid, and thank you.
It's not over yet, silly! We have one villain left to cover.